I ain't made enough money to take care of all these people that I love.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Then I had a son 2014, so I turned it up a little bit even more then.
Mm.
So that's when I signed to Chauncey from Blackstreet.
Okay, so what do you mean you signed to Chauncey? Because were you not? I, so what do you mean you were signed to Chauncey? Because I was on the impression you got your own publishing. You were making a name for yourself as a producer, and
Yeah,
you were working with Teddy. Yeah.
I was, but that's one of the times that me and Teddy did our little split up or whatever, and I needed someone that was known, that had done great business ventures, um, that could help take me to the next level because I had just had my kid, and the work that I was doing, it wasn't enough. So I reached out to Chauncey, man. That was one of the greatest decisions I had ever made in my life, man. He wasn't a producer, so I was at all the meetings. I was in front of the boards. I was controlling all of the music. He was just controlling the business part.
Oh, so okay, so I think a lot of us would not have an understanding of Chauncey's background because I think because when we saw Blackstreet, he seemed very reserved, and he just seemed more so just as a singer. So you're mentioning that you're talking about the business side and ventures and stuff, and so it's that sense of so he was actually a businessman other than just being the black in Blackstreet.
Oh man, Chauncey was soaking it all in when he was working under Teddy, which that's what you're supposed to like. When I was working with Teddy, it's certain business thing I learned that I use now, but Chauncey was soaking it all in, and he was able to go get a situation on his own with Busta Rhymes. You know what I'm saying, a solo deal, and
Yeah, I remember that. Yes.
he learned a lot of stuff from Busta. He actually said he learned more of what to do, how to do business the right way with Busta. So even when I was working with Teddy, one of the time him and Blackstreet was together as far as him and Chauncey and the members.
Yeah.
Every time I needed something handled, like, okay, I did this track for such and such, and I haven't received any royalties yet. Like he always say, talk to Chauncey because he don't play when it comes to business. He's smart. So when I was just sitting, when my son was about to be born, I was just thinking, I'll never forget it. I was just sitting in my studio, like, I'm a fair person. I'm talented. Who can take me to the next level? And that popped in my head. The vision of where I was sitting, me and Teddy been in the studio when he said that to me, that it was like deja vu. It popped in my head. I reached out to him, and not even 2 weeks later, we was over in Australia working on the artists over there.
So what did you sign with Chauncey? Because I guess it's on the stats. It's an interesting that. Hmm?
Management contract.
So he would sort of help manage and guide your career. Or what? But is it that what exactly would that be so people can get a sense?
He got as a manager, they supposed to get out there and whatever you do, if you're a singer, a rapper, a producer, if you're a painter, artist, whatever, if whoever manages you, supposed to go out and basically, I'm gonna make it simple. Go make it happen.
Okay.
Go bring you situations where you can take care of yourself
and they
you
get
know.
a cut from what the revenue that you're getting.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So you sign you get to sign with him. Was that a conflict with Teddy then? Thinking, wait a minute, you're supposed to.
I took that's one of the times we took a break. So it was like Teddy leave, come back. Then in between those breaks, in between the last couple of times, that's when I started working with Chauncey.
Okay. So then he's he's getting artists, he's getting you to produce, and they're moving up. What was your vision as to what you wanted to do? Because it's quite interesting when you look at people who started off as just producers and beat makers who really took it to another level. So Pharrell is one, Timbaland's another, Swiss Beats is another, even Dre. They started just making music, but they started to see things bigger and than just being in the studio, especially because unlike hip hop, R&B, the market isn't as big as it was in the 90s and the early 2000s. So hip hop is there. So from your point of view, then, when you signed with him, did you have a vision as to what kind of artist, entrepreneur, producer that you wanted to be? Did you have someone like who you thought, this person is like the benchmark of where I wanted to see myself and beyond?
I wanted to do what Dr. Dre did.
Okay.
And Chauncey actually made that happen. He took me over to Australia. We got with some people over there. We formed a label. They gave me a percentage of the record label. We formed a publishing company. They gave me a percentage of the publishing company. Promotional company, all of that stuff, and they made me the lead producer of the whole organization, working with all the artists and stuff like that. And they gave me a contract to put up my own album, so I was just going to have a bunch of features on.
Okay. Did that come out?
The female artist that we're working on, her stuff came out in Sydney. A few of her singles.
Okay.
But you know how it goes. Like, it didn't go all the way through, but a few of her singles came out, and it was successful over there. And I was in a newspaper in Sydney, me and Chauncey, and Rodney Jerkin he was in the newspaper in Melbourne. So we was hearing about what we was doing at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess it's all a learning experience, just testing the waters and stuff like that. What's been, when you look back then at your career, what's been the sort of highlight stuff that you would say that you've worked on it and it's really made a big impact?
He Sweat.
Okay, so, and I think I wanted to so I guess you mentioned that you're in his house. So how did the meeting with Keith come about?
I've been knowing Keith since I was a kid because my uncles worked with him. And he's always been like family, So I've been knowing him since he was already familiar with me. And he needed some talk box and vocoder. And he's like, I got this song, I wanted to have a Blackstreet feel. It's already written and stuff like that. And he had told my Uncle Zach, best friend Wally Mars, Wally Mars is someone you should get on your show too. He's responsible, I'm gonna say this, for bringing Charlie Wilson back. So he was working with Keith, and Keith was like, yeah, my little nephew. He was like, oh, JHot, yeah, I know JHot. So I came over and I did the talk box and the vocal on the song. And that was the first time I had gotten paid minutes after I completed something, because there's normally paperwork and all this stuff you had to go through.
Yeah.
And because we were family, so I said, all right, cool, I'll give it a dap him up. I said, okay, I'll get your invoice. And when he dapped me up, what I asked him for, it was in my hand. I was like,
wow.
That was fast.
So was that his last album that you did?
Yeah, that's the album that me, Teddy,
and
another producer worked on. That album was nice, but we put a lot of work in the album, but it was more the label, because Keith normally just be his own label, but he had did something with Sony Red, and they just didn't promote it like they did the other one. But now the album before this, I worked on. I did a record. I did 2 records on them. One called Good Love, produced by me, written by me and Keith. And I did another record with Karen Anderson, who wrote Don't Leave, called Feels Good. But that album was the one that did it for me. Like, those royalties, it was amazing just from that one record.
Wow.
And it went #1, so that's what did it for me.
And so now you mentioned that you're back. Are you back working with Keith, or what's the situation with him now?
I never start working with Keith. Only time I'm not working with Keith is when he's taking a break in between the album.
Yeah, but no, but from his last album that he did that he
Oh,
featured
we working
Teddy.
on a new one, yeah.
So you're working on a new album with him.
Hmm.
Okay.
So right
And
now, I'm getting ready to get into some production for him. Right now, some of the production that was on the last album, he realized that they're great songs. He's been revamping them, and I've been on the audio engineering, the mixing side, because I also engineer and mix as well. So I got a few jobs. I'm a talk box player for some people's records. Then I'm a mix engineer and I'm a producer.
okay. And then you mentioned, did you mention that you might be also because are you still signed with working with Chauncey?
Yeah, Chauncey, my manager right now. Right now, we're going back. We're working on Blackstreet. We're 90% done. We're going back to Virginia, January the 2nd, day after New Year's, to complete the album. It's gonna take us about maybe 2 weeks.
Okay, so I guess a lot of people will be interested. So, um, I know that they were touring Eric Middleton, um, Levi Little, and Chauncey. And am I missing anyone? Eric Williams? Is it
Eric Williams,
Mark
Levi
Middleton?
Little, Mark Middleton, Chauncey
Yeah,
Black.
and Chauncey. Um, I think Eric was probably one of the best vocalists that they've had. People might disagree and think it was Dave Hollister, but I think Eric powerful vocals, no, sorry, Mark Middleton, just powerful vocals. And then I liked Eric's very reserved sort of soul singer. He always reminds me of Jaheim.
We call
What's
Eric brother.
but
That's crazy that you said Jaheim. He wrote and produced a lot of Jaheim first stuff.
okay, it kind of yeah, because he was very when you look at him, he's always very reserved, and I liked he liked drama, and I also liked um, Can't Get You Out of My Mind of
Yeah.
the black of the black.
Eric wrote and produced that.
Yeah, yeah. As I said, it was very different from the rest of the stuff, and I really liked those two tracks. Um, but it's interesting now. Do they have a deal that you're going to, or is it just more so they're just right?
No,
They're going to.
they have a deal, but Chauncey's gonna talk about that a little later. Yeah, they have a deal. They have a
Okay,
situation after that.
okay. So so what did you do? So if we when the album comes out, what would you have done on the album? Or would you have done any of the tracks, or what would you have just?
The whole entire album, like even when tracks come in from another producer, and even if I like it, Chauncey and the group feel like it's nice, but sprinkle or do this or do that. So I did the whole album. Is with the exception of a couple tracks, but I still co-produced those records. So basically, I did the whole album.
Okay, okay.
I'm an
So
executive producer of the album.
okay. So that's and okay. And I guess it was strange because I think I overheard during the verses that Teddy said he was getting back with Blackstreet to do some work, but I guess it fell through.
I don't know.
That's fine. Yeah, yeah. He was saying it on Instagram Live, saying that he was saying, yeah, get ready to expect some stuff. But I guess yeah, things do happen. You could agree to do stuff, and then when time comes, it's other things come through and stuff. So what's in the horizon for you now? I mean, you're still doing some stuff with Keith. You've got the Blackstreet album coming out next year. What else are you looking forward to?
I'm waiting on Tamar to send for me. I got records for her that she want to cut.
Who's that?
Tamar Braxton.
Is she back? Is she back ready to sing?
Yeah, I'm waiting on her. Her manager is a real good friend of mine and my family and stuff like that. Lonnie Ferguson and Lil Lonnie Jr. Manny like one of my best friends. So they work on her management team and stuff like that. So I got records that's ready to go for her. I'm just waiting
Okay.
on her to the green light it, and then we're gonna go make that happen.
Okay. And when do you expect the Keith stuff to drop?
Sometime next year, maybe spring or something like that.
Okay.
I don't
There-
know, maybe 'cause Keith he know what he wants. So Keith ain't one of those guys that it take 6, 7 months to work on an album.
Yeah. So what about you mentioned earlier about your joint venture, the stuff in Australia. Has that sort of fallen through and you do stuff out?
Yeah, that was an old chapter. We made a few hits over there, big songs on the charts over there. We did that, and you know how things just no, not because of us, but you know how things just don't. I'm quite sure you have interviewed enough artists to see. Oh, I had a couple of hits. What happened to that? You know, some things just don't stick. But it was
Yeah.
very successful still.
Yeah. I think the other question that I do have again also is that when you're looking at your stuff now, a lot of us used to think, how come as a producer, if you can do a lot of your own stuff, um, why you don't get your own artists, stop doing hits
Oh,
for them, and releasing them as opposed to writing tracks for others?
well, I have my J2 Entertainment,
Okay.
my company, which Chauncey is managing that, and I got some artists that I'm working on their stuff, but I'm just sort of waiting to finish all this Blackstreet stuff, this Tamar stuff, because like those are the things that make way for that for those artists and stuff that I
Okay.
have. But I do have my own entertainment company named after my son.
Okay.
He's exactly Scott the second, so J2 Entertainment. I got like I have 4 artists right now.
Oh, okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I think just as we get to wrap up, then do you think there's enough? Because most of the people who watch the show are very much of the '90s. And the '90s is when the music was really dominated by R&B, and it was a lot of the artist had originality. The production was very unique. So you'd had Jade. It was very different from SWV, very much different from Brownstone, different from Escape. You had loads of girl groups. You had guy groups. You had singers. Right now, we don't really have that kind of competition. I don't even know if there are any female groups anymore. I don't know if there's
Well, I'm
any.
bringing all that back.
Okay. It
Yeah,
has,
I'm serious. I'm serious. Like I'm so happy that I started producing at such a young age because I know how to bring the new and the old together. You know what I'm
okay.
saying? So like even with my mixing, I still use analog, even though I use the computer. Like so, I'm good at merging the two. So, well, my artists, they all different, and they don't sound alike, even though it's a lot of it produced by me. But it reminds you of the '90s R&B when it was just real heavy and serious.
Mm,
But I'm smart enough to mix it with a little bit of today because you got to keep up with the time.
yeah,
And I think that's what Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis are great for. They don't get enough credit. They still got they old thing, but they can keep up with the time and
yeah,
merge. That's what I'm doing with my artists.
yeah. I mean, the new stuff by Jimmy and Terry with featuring Babyface, it sounds very similar to Bending Knees, End of the Road. It sounds, but it's still new, but it sounds very familiar, and that's to their credit. And I think not many producers, and I remember speaking to your uncle about this, that you know Bruno Mars shows that there is a market for 90s stuff when you sprinkle it. So he got Mr. Talkbox to do 24 karat, which in itself was a throwback to Zap and Roger Zap, but then also it took understood that it needs to be updated. But that album was so big because it took people back to what they missed, and he did the whole album. Unfortunately, most of our R&B art producers and don't seem to see what people want, and they keep doing the same auto tunes and trying to sound like Future and I can't remember all the rappers who are singing and sound the same, and they're like, yeah, we need to do that, and they're realizing that there's a young generation who listen to that, but they're very fickle. They go to the next stuff. They go to Drake. They move around. But the R&B stuff is getting left behind, and it's hip hop that's really making sort of the money and getting the airplays and getting all the stuff happening.
Hmm. Well, with the new Blackstreet project, you finna get some real R&B with a little bit of the new. It's not too new where the core fans will be like upset, and it's not too old to the point of the newer generation will be like, nah, I can't rock to that. It's still you still got those timeless classic ballads and mid tempos and big Earth, Wind and Fire sound, and we still got all that. And every member in this group, vocals are A1. You have a lot of artists that came out back in the day, and you hear them now, and it's not different, or they got a lower to keep. Everybody is singing. Chauncey, Levi, Mark, Eric, everybody is singing. You still get the talk box and the vocoder because I'm doing that. Like, I don't think there could ever be a Blackstreet album without those elements. That's what kind of makes Blackstreet.
I mean, you set yourself a high standard because this will be the first Blackstreet album without Teddy involvement. So I think it will be very much scrutinized by Blackstreet fans, and I think that's probably one of the things that would be good, for Chauncey to get his side of the story out, because I think not Modern Dirt, but just to let us understand
I
music.
spoke to him about it. He's ready when you are. He's one thing about Chauncey. You can never find an interview where he's just bashing anyone.
No, yeah,
but he know how to tell the truth, but keep it. He's very classy when it comes to the way he speaks and the way he handles things. So you won't get no drama.
Yeah, and everything we do here is very positive. So there's so much, division. There's so much hate. There's so much sorrow this year. It's taken a toll on all of us. I'd never thought that I'll leave in fact, it still hasn't hit me about my dad. So to imagine, thank you. So to imagine, to try and use any platform to try and sow hate and division, that's far from it. So it's important that we celebrate. People loved Pastor Mike because it was celebrating. I think they fell out of love with Versus, not because it wasn't doing a great thing, but after the Teddy and Babyface episode, the Erica and Jill Scott wasn't too bad, but then it started to go back into hip hop, and it became very much current. And what they loved about sort of the Teddy and the Babyface one was that sense of connecting to an era of time when life was just fun and music was fun, and people really got into that. And I think that's why Pastor Mike has really become a lot more popular, because it's celebrating that type of timeless music and no divisions and stuff. So yeah, are there tracks that you've done that people might not have known as you, that you think you want to be, that you're proud of, that you think these are 5 of my best tracks that the people should say that would be surprised that you did?
One of the most incredible piece of work that I'm most proud of is a lot of people don't know. I actually think it's Mr. Talkbox on Lil Duval record. That's me.
Okay.
Pull Up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's me on the Talkbox. So I'm more proud of that than the actual production stuff, because I'm just happy to have a record out there where it's heavy in Talkbox, and I can make my idol, God rest his soul, proud, Roger Troutman.
Yeah.
I'm most excited and honored to be a part of that.
Wow.
Than a lot of stuff I've done, because it's me. You don't understand how long I've been fighting to really get my shine on the Talkbox. I actually, what Mr. Talkbox is doing, I've been doing that, but people was like, "Oh, it's too much. It's too. Oh, no, no, no." People will stop me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm probably one of the best talk box player in the same arena with Ted Edmonds, talk box, and all those guys.
So yeah, so it's interesting because most people would hit a top box because Roger passed away in the early 90s, and after California Love, that was sort of the biggest stock, but he didn't, apart from those who knew him from the 80s and Roger and Zapp, so most of the others were not really, that was about it. But because Teddy made it really popular, a lot of people would always think, oh, that must be Teddy, and Teddy really embraced it, especially with the big Blackstreet tracks and stuff like that. But then Mr. Topbox did, even when I heard the 24 Carat by Bruno Mars, I thought, oh, that sounds like Teddy. It's quite easy to just always think Teddy because most people weren't using it besides him, or maybe they were, but it just seemed like he made it very mainstream, and people just always associated that with him. But Mr. Topbox has started to, because he does a lot with gospel and he goes back and forth, so he's really making it out there. But we don't really know anyone else who, because he's called Mr. Topbox, so that's quite and he features on a record. So then his name becomes popular. But unless you are doing it in a video, or we're saying featuring JHot, it's kind of hard to know that you actually are doing this.
So all the Blackstreet stuff, all their videos, Chun's gonna have me in all of the videos, and it's just not because he managed me, the group. So I'm gonna be doing my talk about stuff in their videos and on their tour. So
okay,
I've been doing talk box. Jeez, man, probably since about 50, probably 20 years.
So if you were competing with your uncle, who do you think is better at the top box?
Which uncle?
Mucho.
Oh, Mucho, no, I'll destroy him on top box. Look, he calling me now to do the top box on some of his new stuff with the group that he's working on.
Blackmail?
Yeah, Blackmail.
Okay.
Yeah, right now he's like, what my top box at, dude? What my top box at?
Okay.
He still talking to me like I'm the little nephew. What my top box at, dude? You think I'm something to play with? Say my top box.
Okay.
So, but the thing about him, I think because that was kind of Teddy's thing, when he picked it up, he dibble and dabble with him, but the way his brain thinks, he's a scientist when it comes to music and learning how to do stuff. If he wanted to, and he really put his focus on it, he probably, if he wanted to, could have been top number one, because that's just the way his brain, everything is, he turned to a scientist with everything that he do. He would have figured out how to do, like he built the talk box. We all build talk box. He built a talk box like a year ago, and he got lights. When he played, he got lights going up through the tube. Like,
wow.
Yeah,
no, I mean, as I said, it was a real pleasure connecting with him and stuff. But yeah, definitely, I definitely appreciate this interview.